Are you encouraged or discouraged on what we saw yesterday?
I am ultimately encouraged
Okay.
by what I saw. And I realized the haters were out howling all over the internet last night. See, I told you so.
Yeah.
And I realized at a glance these numbers look disastrous. 4 out of 16, a QBR of 3 on a scale of 0 to 100. It just looks like a nightmare game. In some ways it was. But remember, he got thrown in at halftime.
It is a miracle, family. Kevin Stefanski says Shedeur name for the first time after being 2-8. He get asked, what is he going to do with Shedeur? And he said it's important to develop his players. So he says he's going to work with Shedeur. What did you hear? You tell me, family. I'm telling you. And Shedeur will be quarterbacking Sunday. From what I observed, you let me know in your thoughts and let me know your thoughts and comments. And please, I'm excited to see what this young man can do. Let's go, Cleveland.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. This right here, this moment, feels like the exact second the entire Browns season tilted on its axis. Because, let's be real, a 5th-round rookie with a QBR of 3 is not supposed to be the center of the NFL universe. He's supposed to be a punchline. He's supposed to be a meme. He's supposed to disappear back to the bench and become one of those "remember that guy" names we bring up years later. But instead, we've got leaked audio, we've got a head coach finally saying his name with some conviction, and we've got the entire football world arguing about a kid who barely got a half of football to his name. And that's what blows my mind about all of this. It wasn't some 400-yard game. It wasn't a walk-off touchdown. It was ugly. It was chaotic. It looked bad on paper. 4 of 16, a QBR of 3 out of 100. On the surface, it screams disaster. And yet somehow, this is the clip that broke the internet. Not the interceptions, not the sacks, not the missed reads. The thing that's going viral is Kevin Stefanski finally acknowledging Shedeur Sanders like he matters. Like he's part of the plan. Like he's not just a camp arm or a long-term project, but someone this franchise might actually be willing to ride with. And you felt it too. The second those numbers hit social media, the "told you so" crowd came running. The haters have been waiting for this kid to slip up since the moment his name was mentioned on draft boards. They saw 3.0 QBR and lost their minds. Bust. Overhyped. Dayon's kid isn't built for the league. You know how it goes. Cleveland Twitter was on fire. National media shows did their segments. People were victory lapping a half of football like it confirmed every lazy narrative they've been pushing for 2 years. But this is where it gets deeper than just box scores. Because what Stefanski said, what's leaking out of that building, it tells a completely different story than what the stat line does. This isn't just about one bad half. This is about how this organization handles quarterbacks. This is about how this locker room responds to adversity. This is about a fan base that has been through quarterback heartbreak more times than they can count, watching yet another young guy either get broken by the moment or somehow rise above it. Cleveland has lived this movie too many times, from high draft picks that never panned out, to veterans who were supposed to steady the ship and didn't, to entire seasons wasted because the most important position on the field was a revolving door. Browns fans are tired. They're tired of maybe next year. They're tired of if only we had a guy. So, when a rookie walks into absolute chaos, no first-team reps, no timing with the starters, one of the nastiest defenses in football across from him, a left tackle going down before he even gets in. It's not just about how many balls he completed. It's about whether there's finally something real to believe in. And for Shedeur, this is way bigger than one game. This is the weight of his last name. This is every comment about him only getting shine because of who his father is. This is the draft slide, sitting there round after round while teams picked safer guys. This is the microscope he's been under since high school, where every throw, every mistake, every interview turns into a debate segment. When Stefanski publicly backs him, even after a stat line that ugly, that's not normal coach speak. That's a signal. That's a crack in the old narrative. Because everyone saw the numbers. Everyone saw the struggle. But according to Stefanski, according to what's coming out of those meeting rooms and that film session, he saw something completely different. And that's exactly why this story isn't dying down. It's just getting started. Right now, the energy inside the Cleveland Browns organization feels different. You can hear it in the press conferences. You can feel it in the locker room whispers. And you can absolutely see it in the way fans are reacting on social media. Something is shifting, something is moving, and whether people want to admit it or not, Shedeur Sanders is right at the center of that shift. Because, let's be honest, the depth chart drama is real. The starter hasn't lived up to expectations. The offense has looked flat, predictable, scared to take shots. Browns fans have been watching the same movie for weeks. 3-and-outs, check downs, hesitancy, and a quarterback who just doesn't look comfortable in the pocket. And as that frustration builds, as fans start losing patience, the coaching staff quietly starts doing what every coaching staff in the NFL does when their offense stalls. They look around the room and ask, who gives us a spark? And suddenly, all eyes are drifting toward the rookie who wasn't supposed to see the field yet. Cleveland's roster is built to win now. The defense is elite, fast, physical, relentless. The run game, inconsistent. Some weeks it's there, some weeks it's non-existent. And the receivers? Man, those guys are begging for someone who will actually push the ball down the field. They're tired of running go routes just to jog back to the huddle empty-handed. They want juice. They want aggression. They want someone who will trust them to make plays. And here's where Shedeur suddenly starts looking like the puzzle piece no one expected. He fits Stefanski's system almost too perfectly. Smart, calm, accurate, and when he wants to be, aggressive as hell. He plays on time, but he can also extend plays. He's patient, but he's not passive. And the one thing film guys keep bringing up, the thing that jumped out in that chaotic half against Baltimore, is his pocket awareness. The kid moves like someone who's been in NFL trenches for years. Subtle slides, quick resets, keeping his eyes downfield while the world collapses around him. These are things the starter has struggled with all season. These are things you can't teach, and suddenly the Browns coaching staff is seeing it up close. Inside that locker room, you can feel a divide forming. Not toxic, but undeniable. Some of the receivers already like his energy. You can tell by the way they talk in interviews, the way they dap him up on the sideline, the way they run routes a little sharper when he's throwing the ball. Players know. Players always know. If you can play, if you bring something real, they latch onto that fast. And that viral rumor, oh, that's not going away. Stefanski allegedly saying Shedeur made throws the starter hasn't made all year. That's the kind of comment that gets around a building fast. Coaches talk, assistants talk, scouts talk, word spreads. And suddenly you've got guys walking into meetings thinking, wait, did the rookie outplay the starter in his first real snaps? Meanwhile, outside the building, the debates are getting louder. You've got the he's not ready crowd saying he needs a full year. You've got the he's only hyped because of his last name, people pushing the same lazy narratives. But every piece of leaked audio, every insider note, every film breakdown from analysts who know what they're watching, all of it is pointing in the same direction. The kid can play, and the coaches know it. This isn't just fan hype. This isn't social media delusion. This is coming from inside the room, from people watching every practice rep, every meeting, every decision he makes under pressure. And that's why things are getting really interesting in Cleveland right now. Because if Shedeur standing inside the building is rising this fast, if the coaching staff is this impressed, if the locker room is already responding to him, then there's only one conclusion anyone can draw. The quarterback job isn't locked up anymore. It's officially up for grabs. You could feel it the second Shedeur stepped onto the field. The Wolves were already circling, not the defense, not Baltimore. I'm talking about the people online who have been waiting, and I mean waiting, for this kid to slip. You could almost hear them sharpening their tweets. And the moment that stat line hit the internet, 4 of 16, QBR of 3, they pounced like they'd been rehearsing this moment for months. And that's the thing about Shedeur Sanders. The criticism never started with the NFL. It started the moment he became Deion's son. The spotlight wasn't something he earned. It was something forced onto him, glued to him, handed to him whether he wanted it or not. Every throw he made in college was graded harder. Every win was because of his coach. Every loss was because he wasn't good enough. The kid could throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and still get hit with, yeah, but can he do it at the next level? From day one, people said he only succeeded because of hype, because of the Sanders name, because of marketing, because of whatever excuse made it easier to ignore what he was actually doing on the field. And when draft day came and his name slid further and further down the board, those critics celebrated like it proved something. See, the league knows. He's not that guy. They were waiting to be right before he ever stepped onto an NFL practice field. Then Baltimore happened, and the media smelled blood in the water. Suddenly, every talking head on TV had a take. He doesn't have NFL speed. He can't read defenses. He's not ready. They turned that game into a storyline before the film session even finished exporting. This wasn't analysis. It was theatrics, and fans ate it up. People were calling him a bust after one half of football he didn't even prepare for. And that's the part that blows my mind. Because let's talk about the reality here. Shedeur was thrown into a pressure cooker that would break most quarterbacks, rookies and veterans. He had 0 reps with the starters, 0 timing with the receivers, a backup left tackle, an elite Baltimore defense throwing pressure at him from every direction, and absolutely no game plan built for his strengths. That is a nightmare scenario. That's the kind of situation that ruins confidence, derails development, and convinces coaches to bury rookies on the depth chart. But instead of acknowledging that context, the internet acted like it was some kind of final verdict. Like you can take a kid out of cold storage, toss him into the flame, and expect him to look like Mahomes. It was never a fair fight. He was set up to fail before he even buckled his chin strap. And the worst part, people loved it. The hate wasn't about his performance. It was about people wanting the satisfaction of being right about him. They wanted the narrative of overhyped kid exposed more than they wanted to tell the truth about what actually happened on that field. And while the outside pressure was loud, the internal pressure might have been even louder. Could he win the locker room? Could he convince grown men, veterans with mortgages and kids, that he belonged? Could he silence the noise, silence the critics, silence the comparisons to his father, a Hall of Famer, an icon, a once-in-a-generation personality? Could he survive the NFL spotlight that eats young quarterbacks alive? Most guys don't. Most guys crumble. Most guys disappear. That pressure breaks careers before they ever really start. But then the leaked audio came out. Then the coaches started talking. Then Stefanski dropped the bombshell that he was encouraged, and by what he saw. Suddenly the critics didn't sound so smart. Suddenly all the noise didn't match what the professionals were saying behind closed doors. Because the truth is this: the hate was never about Shedeur failing. It was about people wanting to be right about him failing. And now, because the coaching staff flipped the script, because the film didn't match the box score, because the players and the staff saw something real in that chaos, those same people are scrambling to rewrite their takes. The pressure cooker didn't break him. It might have just exposed everyone who was rooting for him to fail. There's a different kind of energy around Shedeur Sanders right now. Not panic, not pressure, but something way more exciting. You can feel it every time someone from that coaching staff opens their mouth. You can hear it in the way analysts talk about him. Even fans who were skeptical a week ago are starting to lean in a little closer. Because for the first time all season, people are starting to realize the truth. Shedeur didn't just survive that Baltimore game, he revealed something. And when you go back through the tape, when you really slow it down and look at those moments Stefanski pointed out, you start seeing exactly why. The composure. That was the first thing. The kid never panicked. Even when he was running for his life, even when that pocket collapsed like a sinkhole, he kept his eyes up. That's veteran stuff. That's the kind of thing coaches obsess over when they evaluate quarterbacks. They want to see who flinches. Shedeur never did. Then there's the movement. Not blazing speed, not Lamar Jackson level scrambling, but controlled, efficient, technical movement. He slid away from pressure, he reset his feet. He bought time in tiny, subtle ways that don't show up on stat sheets but show up on film every single time you watch it. That's what Stefanski kept circling in those meetings. Not the incompletions, not the hits, but the little flashes of a quarterback who already understands how to survive in the pocket. And the arm, man, that's what really got people talking. Those tight window throws late in the game, the ones that had absolutely no business being complete, but somehow almost were. That's where the coaching staff really perked up. That 25-yard rope to the rookie receiver, that ball had NFL DNA all over it. Perfect velocity, perfect placement, perfect timing. That's the kind of throw offensive coordinators dream about. That's the kind of throw the starter hasn't hit all season. And when Stefanski reportedly said, "That's the throw we've been waiting for," he wasn't exaggerating. He meant every word. But here's where this gets even more interesting. Let's zoom out for a second. Let's talk big picture. Because development matters, timeline matters, and Shedeur's entire path might have been leading to this exact moment. Sitting behind a veteran wasn't a punishment. It might have been the best thing for him. He got to learn the system without the pressure. He got to absorb the speed of the NFL at his own pace. He got to watch how defenses disguise coverages, how blitz packages rotate, how the pros handle chaos. And don't forget who raised him. Shedeur Sanders, one of the smartest, most intentional football minds on the planet. Shedeur grew up in meeting rooms. He grew up around greatness. His football IQ is miles ahead of most rookies. And people inside that building are noticing the little things he does. The way he listens in meetings. The way he asks questions. The way he pulls receivers aside after practice to get extra work in. Even when he's QB2 or QB3 and technically doesn't need to. That quiet leadership, players pick up on that fast. They gravitate toward quarterbacks who don't talk big, but act big. Guys who stay steady. Guys who stay real. That's why some of the younger receivers are already vibing with him. They feel the confidence. They feel the authenticity. And in the NFL, that matters more than people think. Now, let's talk about the rumor, the one fans keep whispering about. The idea that Shedeur chose this route, that he didn't fall into the 5th round, he let himself land there, that he didn't want to get drafted high and rushed onto the field, that he wanted a place where he could sit, learn, and then take over when the moment was right. And honestly, watching this unfold, that rumor suddenly feels a lot less crazy. Because look where he is now. Look at what's happening. Look at how the door is cracking open. He didn't fall, he waited. He waited for this exact window. And now it might be here. And that's why this chapter of the story is so wild. Because if this is what Shedeur Sanders looks like with zero preparation, with no reps, with chaos around him, with a game plan built for somebody else, then you have to ask the question every Browns fan is quietly thinking right now. What happens when Kevin Stefanski designs a game plan for him? Because if he can flash like that in the worst conditions possible, imagine what he can do when everything is actually built for him to succeed. Let me say this as clearly as I can. We might be standing at the beginning of one of the craziest, most unexpected quarterback storylines the NFL has seen in years. Because everything happening right now, the leaked audio, the film breakdowns, the locker room whispers, the viral reactions, it all points to one truth that almost nobody saw coming. Shedeur Sanders might actually be the future QB1 of the Cleveland Browns. And I don't mean 3 years from now, I don't mean someday. I'm talking soon. Because look at the emotional weight behind this moment. Look at the redemption arc forming right in front of us. This is a kid who's been doubted since the day he declared. A kid who got dragged for his draft slide. A kid the media loves to poke at because of his last name. And now he's inches away from flipping the entire narrative on its head. The next few weeks aren't just important for the Browns. They're defining for the entire Sanders football legacy. This is the moment where people find out whether Shedeur is just another famous last name or a true NFL quarterback who can carry a franchise on his back. And the crazy part is, the coaching staff already seems to have their answer. Because if this kid can look that composed with zero preparation, if he can show that much poise in the worst situation possible, if he can deliver those throws with a backup offensive line and no chemistry with the starters, then what happens when he actually gets a week to prepare? What happens when Stefanski tailors a game plan for his strengths? What happens when he has timing with the receivers, live reps with the ones, and a full playbook built around his skill set? I'll tell you what happens. He shocks the NFL. And this isn't blind optimism. This isn't fan fiction. This is backed by real football context. He's unshakable. We just watched it. Most rookies get swallowed alive in games like that. Shedeur got stronger. He's built for the spotlight. He's been in pressure his whole life. High school spotlight, college spotlight, Social media spotlight, national spotlight, nothing rattles him. You can't coach that. You can't teach that. Then there's the upside. The arm talent is real. The pocket movement is real. The ability to extend plays is real. The willingness to take chances, something the Browns have been begging for, is very, very real. The locker room is starting to feel it. Players don't rally behind someone unless they believe. And Stefanski? He didn't just defend him. He didn't just protect him. He praised specific traits that separate average quarterbacks from special ones. When a playoff-caliber head coach watches the worst statistical performance imaginable and says, "I'm encouraged, you better pay attention." When he says the rookie made throws they haven't seen all year, that's not politics. That's not PR. That's belief. And that's why Browns fans should believe too, because everything is lining up. The timing, the opportunity, the moment, the narrative. All the things that usually break a young quarterback are instead opening the door for him. And if he gets the nod next week, if he actually steps onto that field with a full week of prep and a playbook built for him, don't be surprised if he lights it up. And when he does, remember this moment. Remember the haters. Remember the people who said he wasn't ready. Remember the QBR of 3. Remember how they laughed. Remember how they doubted. Because sometimes the lowest point is the start of the greatest comeback. And this kid, Shedeur Sanders, he might be about to rewrite his entire story, and the future of the Cleveland Browns with it.